terms of the Christian extraction. Let it also be understood before I make my contribution that Christianity is a very young religion. It is a post-Christ religion. And I invite those who are present here to read the book that I love, written by Desmond Tutu, God is not a Christian. And I believe that God is not a Christian. Christianity, from my theology, is a human construct created after Christ was assumed into heaven. Controversial. That is the standpoint from which I come. I profess Christianity, but I read all holy books. I read the Hindu Gita, and I'm familiar with Hindu mythology. I read the Mahabharata. I hope all of you have read the Mahabharata, because the writers of the Mahabharata say that he who has not and she who has not read the Mahabharata has read nothing. And I agree with him. The Hindu Mahabharata was written 5,000 years before Christianity, and is 11 times longer than the Christian Bible. And when I talk about the Christian Bible, I mean the Bible that includes the 12 deuterocanonical books, sometimes referred to as the Apocrypha. And when I watch the Hindu Mahabharata, I begin to see theology, because the characters in that book attend a school under a tree, a banyan tree, and they are being taught theology. I urge you to read the Mahabharata. When I talk about theology, I'm also talking about theology before Christianity. And many of you will have read the works of Socrates, the works of Plato, the works of Aristotle, from whom St. Thomas Aquinas borrows very heavily. And that theology is also important because it is a theology that talked about gods, not God. That theology informed modern day Christian theology, and you are familiar with it as students of theology. When I talk about theology, I'm also talking about African theology. And those of you who are Africans will be familiar with the theology of Orunmila among the Yoruba peoples. Perhaps not documented, but that is also theology. Those of you, and many of you, are students of comparative religion. We must also be familiar with Islamic theology. So there is not one theology, there are theologies. And if one comes from that standpoint, one must therefore be very humble. I'm one who presently very slow to talk about denominations. Catholic Church, Anglican Church, SDA Church, Methodist Church. Today when you tell me I'm an Anglican, I resist it, although I was baptized in that church. And that to me represents an enlightenment. I feel I'm becoming closer to God when I run away from organized denominations. Because organized denominations bottle God and confine him to a very small space to which he does not belong. And the danger of theology, therefore, is that in my Anglican church, sometimes I hear the priest saying, we are going to learn about Anglicanism. And I said, is that about God, that Anglicanism? We are going to learn about Roman Catholicism. Is that about God or Roman Catholicism? We are going to learn about SDA. Is that about God or SDAism? And many of us are caught in that whirlpool. Today, I dare say that one of the greatest problems that bedevils Africa is religion. It is one of the things that debilitates Africa. Africa now finds herself in a space where many believe, wrongly in my view, that all our problems will be solved through prayer and fasting. Wrong. The divine instruction, as I understand it, was go ye and subdue the earth, and by the sweat of thy brow thou shalt eat. There is no shortage in Kenya, even those of you who came from outside, who have seen many crusades in billboards in Nairobi, Kenya. And when you travel across Africa, there is no shortage of individuals going by different names. Prophet, prophetess. And yet those of you who are students of theology will be told that the age of prophethood ended, some say with John the Baptist, some say with Micah, but they are prophetess and prophets. There is no shortage of apostles running around Africa producing rabbits out of hats in the name of fake miracles. There is no shortage of them. That is part of the African problem, but we do not want to confront it, particularly you theologians. You do not want to confront it. There is now a theology in Africa of making people feel good without making them good. That is wrong theology. It is unbiblical and is dangerous to Africa. Because the Bible that I read does not say it. The Bible that I read is specific and unequivocal. When I read the book of 1 Kings, and I read the story of the prophet Elijah and his confrontation with Ahab and Jezebel, he says, bring forth the 400 prophets of Baal and the 450 prophets who are prophets of Asherah, and let them come to Mount Carmel, that we may know if God is God, let him be worshipped. And if Baal is God, let him be worshipped. No two ways. Choose. And a choice is made. That is the Bible that I read.
If you're in need of office partitioning or home interior works, i.e. kitchen cabinets, modern media walls, wall decoration, wainscoting, wardrobes, tiles, bathrooms, window blinds, gypsum and so on, reach out to Suima's Interiors at 07170 443 or info@suimas.co.ke, and they'll get all your needs sorted out. Whatever it may be, all interior works, these guys are the best at it.
Right now, I'm with my team headed to a client's house in Ruto for consultation. That is to take measurements of the windows, go through our catalog with the client, and then once they decide on the color and the fabric they want, we'll get busy sewing, and at long last, the curtains installation will be on us. So if you're looking for curtains, shears, curtain rods, curtain accessories, reach out to Phoenix Curtains and Interior Decor and we will sort you out. Call us on 0724 414153.
Thank you for choosing David Wafula as your primary news platform. We put countless hours in research, recording, and editing. By showing up each and every day to watch our videos, you encourage us to generate more videos for the viewers. We are on a mission to inform, educate, and build a better tomorrow. To our thousands of followers in a world full of presidents, kings, and queens, you are the real gem. Adios.